Everyone, welcome to another session on adverbs, and today we're going to do comparison of adverbs. Like in adjectives you have comparisons, similarly adverbs also has its comparisons. So we come to the degrees of comparison of adverbs, where from the positive we get the comparative and the superlative. Now the comparison is formed from the positive. In your comparative category, we only have to add er to the adverb, and to the superlative we have to add est at the end of the adverb to get the superlative form of the adverb. All right, so let's say, for example, the first one we take from a single syllable. Let's say the first one we take is fast. Is the basic form of adverb, fast. We move to the comparative by adding er to fast. So fast becomes faster, and the superlative form of this becomes fastest by adding the est. Another example, let's say taking an adverb, say near. Right? Near becomes the basic, which is the positive form of the adverb. So by making it the comparative of the positive, near, we have to add er. It becomes nearer, and adding est becomes the nearest. So adverbs of comparison, or the degrees of comparison for adverbs, can be formed by adding er for the comparative form and est to make it the superlative form of the adverbs. So looking at some more adverbs, comparison in the degree of comparison, let's go to the other one, the third one. I gave you two examples before this. Looking at the third one, let's take a single syllable adverb, long, right? When we compare the positive to the first degree, you have to add er. So it becomes longer, and when we add est to long, it becomes a superlative form of adverb, which is the longest. See the next one, number 4. Another example, single syllable, hard, let's say. Hard, right? To make it the comparative form from the positive hard, we add er, it becomes harder. And to make it the superlative form, by adding est, it becomes hardest. Okay? Alright. I showed you how from a single syllable we added er to make it the comparative and est to make it the superlative. Now we're going to add more and most in front of your adverb, which are having more than one syllable, maybe more than 2 or more syllables. Adverbs that are ending in ly. So if you see the first example, let's say we take calmly, right? Calmly, 2 syllables. Okay, now calmly, it cannot become calmlier, it becomes more calmly. And to make it a superlative form of it, we have to add most calmly. Right. See the other example that I'm going to show you also. Let's say 2 syllables ending with ly, adverb. Gladly. Remember, I showed you the previous video. Words ending with ly are adverbs. Gladly, comparative form, add more in front of the adverb. More gladly, and most gladly. Moving on to the third example, let's say loudly, To make it the comparative form of loudly, we add more loudly. And to make the superlative, we add most loudly. Another example, degree of comparison, skillfully. So to compare, to make it the comparative form of the positive skillfully, we add more. So it becomes more skillfully. Single L, remember, in the word skillfully for adverb. And to go to the superlative form of it, we add most, which becomes most skillfully. So this is how I've taught you on a single syllable where you add ER to make it the comparative, EST to make it the superlative, where you have single syllable adverbs. Now, when you have more than two syllables like loudly, skillfully, calmly, you add more in front of the adverb to make it the comparative, and to make it superlative, we add most in front of the adverbs. Now we come to the next part called as irregular adverbs. Before we go there, I want to show you and explain in a little detail how do we get these adverbs. Now, irregular adverbs. That is our next topic. But before we go there, I said, let me show you where do we get these adverbs formed from. In a normal rule, when you change an adjective to an adverb, we always add ly to the end. Let's say, for an example, an adjective hard is an adjective. But to make it an adverb, we just had ly. It becomes hardly. Next, let's say another adjective, slow. Slow is your adjective. But to make it to an adverb, we add ly, becomes slowly. These are regular adverbs. Now, we are coming to the irregular forms of adverbs, where the ER rule and the EST rule, or the more or the most rule, doesn't apply. For example, look on your screen. First one will say ill or even badly, right? Ill, to make it a comparative form, becomes worse. No iller, no badler, nothing, they're all wrong words. Ill or badly, which is the form positive, irregular form of adverb, to make it a comparative form, it becomes worse. To make it the superlative form of ill or badly, worst. Look at the next example. Second example, say we take an irregular adverb of little. Little in the comparative form becomes less, and to make it into the superlative form becomes least. Little, positive form of the adverb, less, comparative form of the adverb, and least becomes the superlative form of the adverb. Look at the third example. Number 3. Say we take another adverb, well. To make it the comparative form, it becomes better. And to make it into the superlative form of the word well will be best. That's why they're called as irregular adverbs. Look at the last example, number 4. Much, to make it a comparative form of much, becomes more, and the superlative form of much will become most. So today I've taught you the irregular forms of adverb, degrees of comparison. The first, if you go to do a recap, the first was we form an adverb, the degree of comparison, comparative and superlative. A single syllable adverb is formed by adding er, which becomes a comparative, and by adding est at the end of the adverb, it becomes a superlative form. The next one was adverbs, regular adverbs, but ending in ly. Words which are adverbs with ending in ly, having two syllables, right? Like slowly. How do we make it comparative? By adding more. How did we make it superlative? By adding most. So slowly was the positive, comparative became more slowly, and superlative became most slowly. And the third part was irregular adverbs. Example is there on the board. Well, comparative became better, and the superlative form is the best. Much, comparative form is more, superlative form is most. Now children, we come to the next, a very complicated and a complex part of adverbs, that is your position of adverbs. In most cases, you will find adverbs maybe at the end of the sentence, but not necessarily. Sometimes adverbs can be placed either in the front of the sentence, beginning of the sentence, it can be placed in the middle of the sentence, or also it can follow at the end of the sentence. So here I have segregated the different parts: subject, verb, object, adverb or adverb, phrase or place. And I will show you how in an adverb of manner, adverb of time, and adverb of place, where the adverbs are placed, the position of these adverbs. Let's say, first example, the sentence is, I wrote a letter carefully. This sentence, I wrote a letter carefully, I'm going to divide it into these segments given here, these categories given here. So I becomes the subject, wrote becomes the verb, letter becomes your object, and carefully becomes your adverb. But carefully is what adverb? Carefully is an adverb of manner. How did he write? How did I write the letter? I wrote the letter carefully. So it becomes manner. Adverb of manner. And in adverb of manner, you'll find the adverb at the end of the sentence. Let's look at the second example. So the sentences for the second example is Mary comes every day. Let us segregate it. The subject here is Mary. The verb in the sentence is comes. There is no object. Every day becomes your adverb. And every day is an adverb of time. Let's see the third example. The third sentence we have, he paid the money in the bank. Let us divide it. Subject becomes he, verb becomes paid, object here, the money, in the bank becomes, in the bank becomes adverb of place. It answers the question where. sentences, we have the categories of adverbs: adverb of manner, adverb of time, and adverb of place. In the bank is an adverb phrase, in the bank, but it also place. Now, if you see here, I wrote a letter carefully. Here the position of the adverb carefully comes after the object, if there is an object. Here the object is letter. So the adverb comes after the object. In the second sentence, in time, adverb of time, here you have no object. But the adverb every day comes after the verb. The adverb is placed after the verb. And in the third sentence, which is an adverb phrase in the bank or adverb of place, it again comes either after an object or after a verb. If there is an object, it will come after the object. If there is no object, like in the second sentence, it will come after the verb. So these adverbs, adverb of manner, adverb of time, or adverb of place, in most cases is placed, the position of the adverb is either after the verb or after the object. If there is an object, the adverb comes after the object. If there is no object, the adverb comes after the verb. But now we are going to do another segment of adverbs of frequency, where it comes between the verb and the subject. Alright? For example, he always sees people here. Now, in this sentence you will see, always is an adverb of frequency. How often the action is frequented, how often it happens. So he always, adverb of frequency, sees people here, place. So adverb of frequency will always occur between the subject and the verb. So words like always, never, often, sometimes, these are all adverbs of frequency. And in a sentence where you have an adverb of frequency, it will always come between the subject and the verb. Between the subject and the verb. Adverbs of frequency. Now children, I'll write some sentences on the whiteboard and I will show you the position of the adverbs. Watch. Number one, outside, comma. Sorry, the boys were shouting. Look at the sentence. Outside, the boys were shouting. If you identify the adverb, it starts at the beginning of the sentence, outside. Why? It shows you adverb of place, outside. If I were to shift this adverb to the end, then the sentence would change. The boys were shouting outside. So your adverb of place can be either in the end of the sentence, or it can also begin with the sentence. Moving on to the second example, showing you the position of the adverb. In the field, some people were working. Right? Here, the position of the adverb is in the beginning of the sentence. If I were to change the sentence and shift the position of the adverb to the end, it will go as some people were working in the field. In the field is an adverb phrase also, but it shows you the place also. So the position of the adverb can always be alternate. Either it can be in the beginning of the sentence, or we can also place it, the position of the adverb, at the end of the sentence. So children, this brings an end to the topic adverbs, the entire lesson, and kinds of adverbs. I hope you have understood it. And when solving your exercises and in your text, please definitely refer to the video, the explanation that I've given, so that it simplifies and you are able to understand. Any queries, go ahead and please ask me or type it in, and I shall be of assistance. In the meantime, take care children. Thank you very much for watching this video.